Alrighty, welcome everyone to the SprocketPod live stream 1 year on. And Mark and I have come full circle. We're taking it back to where we started. For those who don't know, he and I met at Inbound last year. And Mark, you're there right now. So this is a really special episode for us.
Yeah, coming to you live. This is not a virtual background, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Um,
Which last year it was. I remember we had screenshots from Inbound and we
yes,
used the
that's right.
opportunity to build this whole podcast off of that. So really
It's true.
excited that we get to be here. We'll have some exciting guests on shortly as we're going to be talking about really automating and building out a platform for customer success. Cause I know all too often, Mark, you and I talk quite a bit about sales. We talk a bit about marketing, but I think we can agree that customer success and customer service tend to be less discussed both here and in circles abroad. We're going to be
Yeah,
giving them attention.
finally, the attention they deserve.
Yeah. So really excited with our guests that are hopping on here because as we'll be discussing, their service, their product focuses on driving and automating customer intelligence through the use of artificial intelligence, through the use of their app. So before we bring them on, I just want to lay the foundation because again, you're at Inbound, and I know that HubSpot has had a lot of announcements about Breeze and other AI updates. Just before we bring our guests on, go ahead and tell everyone, for those who aren't at Inbound, a little bit about what you've been seeing, what you've been hearing, and what the future of AI with HubSpot is looking like.
Yeah, as we were talking about off air, I haven't really had a chance to go to really any of the keynotes just because I've been walking the floor, talking to the people on the street and at our booth. But it seems like the kind of the big drop this year was HubSpot's own AI Breeze. And then within that, there was also the agent AI that was released. And I think there's, at least from what I can tell, been some confusion about where one starts and where the other begins. But it seems like, at least from some of my conversations, that last year was really about what AI can do and like the hype around it. And I think this year they're really talking about how they're operationalizing it, being able to embed their model into the entire platform using some of the acquisitions like Clearbit, things like that. That seems like a pretty interesting functionality that they have going. So I think that's where it's headed. And obviously, that other CRM has their big conference on the other side of the country as well, and they're entirely focused on AI. I think they position themselves as an AI company to the chagrin, I think, of a lot of their users. But I think we'll have to see how all of this plays out in reality, because as you probably remember, last year it was just everything was AI. Every conversation I had, every presentation, and not much came of it in terms of really using AI. I'm hoping that what we saw here today and what we saw this week actually becomes core functionality and gets used to the benefit of actual.
Yeah, and I think that really speaks to the heart of HubSpot. We've talked about it many times in our show here, and it's no surprise for those who are listening and who are in the community. But we have Alex Krasun here joining with Synthflow. We'll be talking about their app and how it helps to drive customer success to be more effective and efficient. Really, not just customer success, but the reason I'm really excited to have them on is because amidst all of this talk of artificial intelligence, HubSpot remains really this all on one platform, not just the all in one platform, which is how they started, right? They wanted to be a platform that is very friendly with apps, which we know there are other CRMs where that's not the case. And so you look at the strides that HubSpot has taken, even with artificial intelligence and everything that it is doing, and the reality is that even though HubSpot has come even say leaps and bounds over the past year with 200 plus product updates, there's still a lot that it relies on third party apps and partners in order to do certain things, such as like what we'll be talking about today, which is driving efficiency with inbound calls and call route. I set the stage for you, but I want to go ahead and have you on here to introduce yourself and let's dig in.
Thank you very much, Cameron. Mark, I hope you have a great time at Inbound. I've heard quite a lot of amazing things about the event. So, hi, I'm Alex. I'm founding product manager. Besides product manager, I am also part of the success team. So I know most of the struggles, and I met I would say most of our users, most of our successful users face to face via chat, of course, as well, and other things. But yeah, we are Synthflow. We are a voice calling solution for inbound and outbound calling. We attach to different workflows in those kind of situations. And yeah, that's short. I can dive a bit more, but yeah, nice to meet you.
And we're going to dive in and we're going to go deep today because to the point that you just mentioned, Alex, this is a service that is beneficial, really not even just service and not even just sales, but it touches on marketing as well. Because as listeners of our show will know, we've talked about marketing attribution, being able to tie where contacts are coming from and as much information to both the source of the contact and their needs. It's really important. So I know we'll be getting to a demonstration of Synthflow momentarily, but I do want to let you open the floor and just lay the foundation. What exactly is the app and how does it help with call routing, customer service, and sales?
I just want to see where I should would start from. So indeed, I think I'm going to start a bit more with the benefit. And I'm going to talk about our users, our current users, because I think this is important and would set the stage to understand what we deliver. So we're working a lot with agencies from the different type of agencies. Lead gen, most of the agencies are lead gen type of agencies, automation agencies, and so on. What we help them, and in the end is how they help their customers, is to get more deals, so more revenue for the agency itself. So now, what Synthflow can offer you as an agency? So it gives you a new business stream. It also gives you a unique competitor advantage because you get access to a new technology that can be quite complicated if you start building yourself overnight. You can win more deals for your customers, which also goes back to more ROI for you. It's also a no code approach. That's something we really emphasize here at Synflow. It helps out scale your customers' voice operations easily. And now I'm going to dive into that. Starting with inbound, then the easiest one is, if you're talking about inbound, you're talking about inbound receptions. And the inbound receptionist can go into multiple ramifications. You can have something like an order management, where you have different SKUs in a database in HubSpot or any other where else that you can recall during the call and find their status. You can talk about troubleshooting, FAQ. You can pull information for the inbound receptionist. And the most common and used one is setting up appointments. You call an inbound receptionist and you want to set up an appointment. We know that this, especially the inbound receptionist for setting up appointments, it's quite an important one because this easily scales. There are a lot of companies, and I can go for industries, HVAC, real estate, and so on. I can talk about the industries later on, that are missing opportunities because they don't have an inbound human that can take all those deals. There's one thing that I want to let you know right now. We do integrate directly with call.com, which also HubSpot has an integration, and that's amazing. But the good news is that we're going to integrate with HubSpot Calendar soon. We're just waiting on the team from HubSpot to make the open API for the calendar available. Currently, it's not available. They promise us that now in Q4 they should make that available, and as soon as we have it, we can get that and have native integration for appointment booking with HubSpot. I can go into outbound type of calls right now, or do you have any questions?
And just to speak to, I think, the magic of what you're talking about here, we'll put scheduling appointments aside for a moment because I know that's coming. But effectively, this is an app, it's a service that integrates with HubSpot. You set up your phone number, you set up your calling prompts and scenarios. So a customer or potential customer can call into the business. Synthflow kicks in as an automated prompt system and will say, "What are you calling about? How can we help you?" And I know I played with this on the back end. So for those who aren't super familiar with the prompts, when a customer gives a response, that information not only is recorded into HubSpot, but gets logged into properties as well, correct?
True, and it's actually have to right now. It's not on the current state of the app. It's going to be released next week, I think. It's going to update the properties inside bot as well. Yeah, but it acts exactly as you said as an enrichment tool for your inbound and outbound calls.
That is so powerful. And so we think about what's coming on the roadmap very soon here, updating properties automatically, having meeting scheduling automatically tied to the meeting tool. That really is an all in one calling in system because someone can call in and do virtually anything and tell me if I'm wrong here. But if it's automated, that means it's 24/7, which means you don't
Yeah,
need your team staffing that live.
that's one of the main benefits of having an inbound AI receptionist. It doesn't complain, it doesn't sleep. So that's amazing. And because you mentioned some of the updates, next week, when we're going to release the property updates automatically, we're going to also release mapping the call outcome because every HubSpot owner has their own outcomes. And we did struggle a bit with fixing this, but we're on the right path. So you can map your own outcomes and the AI will map it directly into HubSpot. Yeah.
And so that means that everything from call state, the recording itself, of course, all the details of the call that gets logged in HubSpot, not just logs the data, but then when we think future state, it automates a lot of the next steps of the process, which really then tie into all of the things that can happen afterwards. Somebody calls in, they schedule a meeting, and now in HubSpot, you have some kind of automation or workflow that triggers other things that happen afterwards as well. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting.
No, yeah, that's exciting. And that's what we've done the approach with other automation tools and other CRMs that we integrated. The idea is that Synthflow standalone tries to offer a good suite of benefits that you can do when you're integrating with your CRM. But the beauty and the depth of the iceberg is when you enrich it with multiple workflows and you have a real more complete dialing system and workflows that get together into a single automation. Yeah.
And as Mark knows well by now, and anyone who's listened to any of these episodes, because you mentioned it's a no code solution, that to me is a highlight because everything from trying to set up custom code with Ops Hub Pro to going into Chat GPT to generate code, those are things that I know come intuitive to many HubSpot admin or users like Mark, but not to myself. And so anytime I have a no code solution where I can just go in and do all the setup and drag and drop or click a setting, so helpful. So helpful.
Yeah.
Alex, I have a question. Alex, there was a lot of announcements here about HubSpot's AI, or their own AI that's now embedded and agents. I don't know if you all got a heads up about those things, or if you have plans on how to incorporate into that, or is Synthflow have its own model that kind of lives separately?
No, so this thing should happen. Everyone is going to try to have their own AI, their own systems, and so on. But the only thing is the speed that you go to the market and have this on, because we are already failing and learning for such a long time that just by doing that, we're up ahead. We talk with customers on a daily basis. We know what are their struggles and so on. So I think it's beneficial because it will also push us a bit more. But as long as HubSpot or any other CRM integration is open, we're going to have that on our own and we're going to make it accessible because users want it in their own systems regardless. Yeah.
And there's very clearly always areas where app partners and third party solutions are going to benefit over some native features. And there's a very basic feature in the meeting calendar that I actually didn't realize, or I rather forgot until recently, that in HubSpot, for example, using the native meetings feature, you can't natively schedule recurring meetings, right? That's a very simple thing that I think many people might forget about, but until you think you need it, you forget about it. And so you think about something like where Synthflow, for example, allows you to go in and automate end to end the entire inbound calling system, it's a really powerful tool. And I know that when it comes to using apps, sometimes there can be some confusion for some people in starting up. Obviously, no code is helpful because you don't really have to learn a lot about the platform. But I think you had mentioned to me that there is a webinar coming up. So, talk a little bit about how people who want to learn more about Synthflow after the demonstration we do today can work with your team, learn more about the product, or even see future webinars.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cameron, for reminding me about that. Indeed, we are hosting webinars quite often, but we really want to make a more big webinar, and that's going to be focused especially for HubSpot partners. In any other CRM and other tool that we use, we've seen the most success we had is we're working with the partner, with the agencies directly. So we're going to launch on 4th October this webinar. I'm going to share the link. We're going to work through all of our experiences so far with other agencies and their success, where we're going to share like a blueprint for new services, packages, and use cases that you as a partner can upsell to your customers, pricing models, examples, so how other agencies were charging, some sales strategies, how to pitch, some demos that you can share with your customers. But also we're going to have exclusive HubSpot partner deal where we're going to offer 3 minutes and free account for partners to test out. And yeah, that will be coming on 4th of October.
That's exciting, especially again, we think back to all on one platform versus all in one platform. The fact that HubSpot plays well with third party solutions such as Synthflow, right? But then you have dedicated resources from your team. I know that we've talked offline about the onboarding experience, which is really helpful having actually team members of Synthflow go and help with certain areas of the setup. But I'm really curious because oftentimes in our show here on the Sprocket Pod, we talk about services like this. And Mark, you and I could talk all day about the importance of logging data and data integrity. But I'm pretty sure by now our listeners have an idea of why it's important to log your phone calls. If you're not, make sure you listen to our last episode about sales reps. But I do also want to see Synthflow in action. So I know we've got a demo coming up. Alex, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, and I'll go ahead and pull it for viewers. But the key of Synthflow is that it is an inbound calling platform. And so it's not just about the company, but it's about both the customer experience and the company, right? Giving people a way to call in, having their prompts automated, letting them bypass having to for people, and then allowing the company to collect data as well.
Yeah, I'm going to share the screen in a second. Thank you very much, Cameron. I just want to make just a small thing I want to say. So yeah, it's about inbound, but also about outbound, especially in lead generation and all of this kind of stuff. Because, for example, we had a customer that implemented Synthflow Voice AI solution in their funnel, and I think in 2 weeks he had 400 responses, which resulted in 70 appointments, which 9 of them become sales. So they were quite good, and this is what impressive. He replaced his human assistant because the value is in, especially in sales, where you can warm up leads. That's the idea. You can use voice AI to warm up leads, and I'm not talking here about cold calling. I don't want to mention that. It's about warming up leads after you catch them into a form, or you have a database with them, past customers, and you want to, they are dormant leads and you want to revive them. It works. And the last thing I want to say before I share my screen, I want to talk about the industries, because there are different industries out there that agencies serve and their customers are using. Most common and the most used in our users, it's HVAC. It's really quite common one and easy, from flooring, handyman, everything in HVAC. It's really easy, especially on the inbound side. We got also a quite bunch of the insurance part. So here you can think about policies and all of that things to collect information, to filter and qualify the lead itself, because they need to match certain criteria to move forward into different things. Real estate, this is a really quite amazing one. Telecom recently, we're getting more traction into that. Healthcare, we also got HIPAA. Next month we got HIPAA. So we got a lot of dentists, dermatologists, orthopedics that are really interested into this. Also some hospitals. That's really amazing. We're really looking forward to that. Solar for sure in US and Australia, quite a lot. Especially for qualifying again the leads. Recruitment, there's a lot of volume calls in the recruitment, from screening, appointment booking, appointment reminders to just remove the no shows for all the appointments that you have. And oh, I forgot, another amazing one is automotive, car dealerships. There are a lot of work on that as well, and car services together with that. So with that, sorry for taking this small pause in what I wanted to do. Let me share my screen.
And as you get that pulled up, I think it's really interesting to mention not just the industries. You think about the fact that this can be used for outbound. I think it's probably quite apparent for all of us business professionals that when it comes to growing and scaling a business, right, it is important that you're efficient with both your service team, your marketing team, but also your sales team and anything you can do to warm up leads. If, for example, you have an event and you collect 1,000 subscribers, to have a way to automate an outbound prompt that sounds natural is a really powerful thing.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, for the events, that's something I forgot. We have an agency that does only that. It makes sure that everyone attends the event, and it's using voice AI to do that. Yeah. All right, let me start. So this is Synthflow. This is my workspace. It's pretty cluttered. Don't get scared about that. Let me show you how quickly you can create an assistant if you want. So I'm going to create right now an outbound assistant. You can start from scratch, but you can use our templates. I'm going to just use one of our templates. This is something that we're going to build up. So we're having here verticals, industries. We're going to add more, as I've just mentioned, a few of the industries we already have in place, but didn't have time to build them. So I'm going to take, let me see, I'm going to take, I think it's an outbound. I'm going to take Paul in this case.
Are you able to use your own voice, Canon 11 Labs, if you feed it enough context, that kind of
Yes,
thing, or is it?
you can clone your voice directly on our platform, and you can also bring your own 11 Labs account. I don't recommend bringing your own 11 Labs account because you get extra cost. But yeah, let me just actually show you. Here we have this small feature where you can go custom voice and you just clone your voice. You need to add some sample voices and it will be using your voice.
Mark, we're not far off from having this podcast be totally AI automated. We'll just have our avatars run everything.
I made an attempt at this. I got an 11 Labs account, used my voice, but no matter what I did when I would give it the training audio, I could not make myself sound natural. And then it would have my stutters in a very weird way. It's possible the models got better, but every time I
Yeah.
tried it afterwards, it sounded very fake.
Yes, actually, you're going to implement something that will help you clone the voice better. It's like you need to act like a voice actor, where you need to read like a prompt, do the
Yeah.
pauses and all that stuff, and the voice will sound better. We have customers that are using this quite prolific. Yeah. So I created a new assistant. It's from the automotive. It's one of our templates. She's called Amelia. This is the interface. Here is the prompt that is defaulted by us. Prompting can be scared, but it's not a big deal. We also have a copilot that will help you out building the prompts. And actually, our prompt structure is quite straightforward and easy for you to follow. You just need to add a couple of instructions in terms of the background information, the objection handling, and a script. But regardless of that, I'm going to show you how to make this easier with an inbound receptionist. So this is an outbound assistant here. We can add actions to it. Actions are like the superpowers of the assistant. Those are tools. We have the real-time booking. You can use a calendar. Here's a call.com calendar that's attached to this. Now, you can also do things with call transfer, human transfer. You can do human transfer with your assistant. You can extract information, or you can do more of the really amazing stuff that I will show you later with custom actions. Custom actions will allow you to do more things there. This is Synthflow. I'm going to show you how this interacts with HubSpot in a second. Sorry, you wanted to say something, Cameron?
No, I was just actually about to ask about how this is able to interact specifically and uniquely to HubSpot because I know this integrates directly with it.
Yes. So first, you'll need to integrate HubSpot. I'm just going to establish the connection here. 1 second. Let me see which one I do have. Right. So you do the authorization with the account that you want, and 1 second. This will revert back, and the authorization is complete. So now you are in sync with HubSpot. Let me show you. All right, let's move here. And now this is HubSpot. What's important here in the HubSpot is in the marketplace is to install. 1 second. Where's the marketplace? Second. I don't want to leave this one. So,
And Mark,
you can find our app inside HubSpot Marketplace. You need to install it first. Now, this one is installed for this specific sub account. All right.
for those watching who, if you're installing this for your own company, this gets streamlined down to about 2 clicks. And if you're an agency, you work with a company like RevPartners, like I do, maybe you have 5 companies that you work with or 5 partners that you work with. You can have your primary agency or company account that then you pair up with each of the partners or companies that you work with. Whether you're doing this for yourself or you're doing this for other companies, you can pair this with any number of accounts as you need as well within a single Synthflow account.
All right, let's move on. Thank you for that. Here's a workflow that I created prior because this could take a while. So this is an automation example for an outbound agent. So what we have here, we need to have a trigger. This is more when an activity was more than 30 days ago. We want to call that lead and say, hey, what are you doing? So what installing the app adds you? It adds you this nice integrated app action here. Make AI phone call. So I already have this here. I'm not going to add this. So here you need to pass a few parameters that you find out in Synthflow. I'm going to show you in a second which those are. So 1 second. So in this case, we have the model ID API key here at the top. We're just going to have those and we paste them here. We're going to need to pass here the phone number from the lead. I'm just going to show you how to do this. So the enroll contact need to pass the phone number, the first name, and the record ID. Here's a different agent that I added previous to the call, and I pasted here the prompt because it needs to have either the prompt here or into Synthflow interface. And after this, you can also pass the lead email or the lead time zone. This comes in handy when you want to book an appointment with, for example, call.com. It will use this email here to know on which email to book an appointment. Now, I've added here an action delay, but what's getting more interesting is here. So here what I do, based on the call status of the call itself, I branch out because each call can have multiple call status. The call status can be completed, the user can be busy, the call might have been failed or hang up on voicemail. And I want to route and have multiple ways to handle all the scenarios in that case. So what I do, I branch out and I handle individually each scenario. Maybe if on the failed, I want to have just a notification sent to myself that, hey, the automation has failed. But here I have something if completed, I do another branching based on why the call has ended right now. So the call has ended also are multiple scenarios. The agent said goodbye, the human said goodbye, something undefined, or a voicemail or human pickup got cut off, something interrupted, something happened. Again, here based on this scenario, I want to handle it multiple ways. What will happen? Also, I can do that on hang up on voicemail. On each successful call that I make, 1 second, on each successful call that I make with one of my contacts that's been here, let me just pick one, let me pick myself. I will have logged in all the data from the call. So you can see here, I have a few calls made, older calls in this account where I have automatically pushed the transcript. The outcome, as I said, this is going to be work in progress. This is going to be updated automatically. The call direction, it was outbound in this case, and call type, this is not working yet. But you have the transcript. You also have the recording here. I think you can also see it here. You can see the recording. And if I play this, it will play the recording from the call. What else I wanted to say? Yes, this is going to be updated automatically as new call happens. Now let me see. As I was mentioning prior, Cameron, we're going to add automatically enrich the lead with multiple properties. With multiple properties that's going to be enriched, and also going to add the call outcomes at the end. Wait, I renamed outbound example. This is the one. Right. You can trigger a call. You can see how this goes. Let's test this one. Now this agent should be calling me and update with this one. Let me go 1 second.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what that interaction with the agent actually sounds like.
Wait, I forgot to do something. I forgot to attach a phone number to the assistant. It doesn't work. This is a newbie mistake. Let me update this.
Which I think Mark and I right now are feeling the amount of times that it's always the most basic steps that end up triggering us during these live demos where we look back and go, of course it is.
It's a good muscle. Being able to pivot and improvise is a really good muscle to exercise.
And here I'm going to also show you how to pass variables. Variables are only being passable if you're doing an outbound call, custom variables. So I'm going to say dealership name, it's Outman. And what else? I have the agent name. Let's say agent name. All right, let's save this. Now let's test this.
And while this is in its setup, I know that it's a test account, but are there recorded calls on any of the records in there from either inbound or outbound where the audio should come through on the live stream? But if we have any records where you've done previous calls as well, I'd be curious to hear what those conversations sound like.
Yes, for sure. Give me 1 second. I need to see why this doesn't work. I think I need to remove this here. Let's leave it empty. Let's do it again. Oh, I think I know where it is. The enrollment, sometimes I need to allow re-enrollment unenroll. All right, let's do this again. This should happen.
When in doubt, you can turn the workflow off, turn it back on, and
Let me see the enrollment history here. Why? It shows no enrollment.
Cameron, let's put your admin hat on now and see if we can.
I was just about to say there's probably a half a dozen agency owners watching this thinking this is just a day in the life of an admin. Yeah.
Should I go find
Well,
Darmesh?
yeah, we'll go get Kyle Jepson to join the stream.
Yeah.
I would definitely say so. You've got your contact enrollment trigger. I think probably, yeah, there we go. Having that set as well.
Yeah, I think now it will work.
Yeah. And then you can go ahead and enroll if you have a specific contact. You can just re-enroll yourself as well.
1 second. The enrollment should work. I'm not sure.
Likely what you'll want to do is turn the workflow back on, and then you can select yourself, assuming you don't automatically enroll when you just turn it back on. And then, yeah, I would just manually select your own contact record. So after you click next and then publish, Turn it on. And then if you go to enroll on the top,
1 second, enroll. Usually it works via simple test one. The delay make phone call still shows that it's happening right now. The delay is later. Contacts. Let me go.
yeah, the test may not trigger the enrollment, but at the very top next to the green check mark,
Yeah.
if you click that and then yeah, select your record, that should trigger it.
No, it's working. Yeah. Thank you.
Greetings from
Yeah,
AC. This is Amelia, your friendly AI reminder for vehicle care.
Hello.
Wanted to remind you that it's been a few months since your last service. How's your car doing?
No, that's great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Amelia. I will schedule an appointment later on.
I understand. If you need any help scheduling, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye. Yes. So that was it. Sorry for the delay. Yes, we're also learning
Hey, we got
on
to
a
put our
daily basis.
admin hat on for a minute there. So
yeah,
that was fun.
that's why
It
they
also
pay Cameron the big bucks.
I wouldn't say that, but it is why we get to have fun with this podcast every single week because the reality is that as anyone who's watching will know, and Alex, as we talked about a few moments ago, sometimes it's the simple things that get the wheels turning. And so if I had to go back and look at every time that there was one small thing that I overlooked and I just were dwelling on it, then it would be a very painful career. So I mean, the reality is, though, the setup was super simple, right?
And here's the call that has been logged. I just wanted to show this one. The transcript is already arrived and the recording as well. So that's this one. And because sometimes the setup is a bit a bit complex. We're working with Super Red to offer some playbooks and easily install those workflows. So this will be part of the webinar package on the 4th October. So you'll not need to go through what I've done right now because we're going to automatically give you the playbook for installing this one and make sure it works.
Yeah,
So do
that's
you?
really cool.
I noticed that you had the AI introduce itself as an AI. Is that what you suggest as best practice? Is that like required, or are there people that just have it?
It
Um,
really depends. It really depends on the scenario. Sometimes a few users want to introduce that, so users don't care in the end, most of the time. If it's something like an outbound, people don't usually even want to talk with humans, so you can disclose it a bit there. But
right.
if you're doing an inbound, most of people don't even mention it's an AI because as long as it solves the issue for the user, they are happy and they don't care.
Is there like any sort of prompt instructions that if someone asks, "Are you an AI?" how it's supposed to respond?
Yes, so we have something in the backend that it responds if the user said that, hey, you are an AI, it will respond that, hey, you are an AI. But if you say you're not an AI, we have something in the backend that will not reveal that you're an AI. So just like
Okay.
the safe net, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And one of the things that I think is really neat about we had a brief test scenario here, but one of the things I think is pretty neat is that it's pretty low latency. So for those who aren't familiar, that's going to be the delay between the human talking and the AI responding. And historically, an app like this might be not well received if there's a long delay and it just feels very unnatural. Now we're in a day and age where if you look at the example that we had here, it's a pretty seamless conversation. There's not a long, obvious pause. It doesn't, if you're talking to an AI program, that's not necessarily a negative thing, but as long as it's not cumbersome. And I think that's the takeaway for me is that it feels natural enough, which I suppose is the point. I'm really curious then. I don't know if we have any recorded examples where it'll play, but for the inbound example, right? It's the same type of approach, but just for an incoming call. You call into customer service and you say, I have a problem about this service. And then the AI can ask follow-up questions and prompts, and then everything will be documented. Can you program an escalation process into it? So somebody has a problem, it attempts to resolve it. They say they want a refund. The AI says, great, I'll credit you a refund.
Yeah, it can do that. It also can have different scenarios, branching logic. If the user says X or Y, it can say something else. So it has this logic. It can do that escalation if required. Most people don't want necessary to let the AI handle those things. They usually have the human transfer as the first solution there. If the user wants to talk about payments and stuff like that, you transfer it to the coding human that can take that and solve it. You can also, and this is something common, you can track different statuses of, I don't know, your order, your payment, or stuff like that. That's easy. You can do that. But if you want to process a payment, it's still possible. But yeah, most of the people don't want the AI to let the AI to process the payment directly. Yeah.
And just to touch on a point that you mentioned earlier, Synthflow can reference HubSpot properties that are known. If you have an order status as a HubSpot property, the AI, the bot, can say your order status is X because it's able to pull that information in. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And that's what I wanted to also show you right here. So we have a template for this. We already have this where it's you just need to install this after you create, and you can get the user preferences from HubSpot, meaning you can get all the properties that specific lead has. Here it's simple. It has only first name, last name, but if you're using your real HubSpot, it will have everything there.
And does it only pull contact information or does it pull from any object, including custom objects?
You can make it to do custom objects as well. Yeah.
Very cool. Cool. I know that we got a taste of Synthflow today, and I know that there is a webinar coming up on October 4th where those who are curious can learn a lot more about Synthflow and can experience it in new ways as well. Alex, is there anything else that you'd like to share for the app or show anyone who is really curious about next steps with Synthflow or setting up their account or what this app can do?
Yeah, so we can also do right now, you also asked me for some sample recordings, but we can also do right now quickly an inbound receptionist that we have with our quick assistant. And you can demo the call if you want, if you would like to
Let's
do it right now.
do it.
All right, so we have this new feature, not quite new. It's quick assistant setup. It's especially for inbound receptionists. So this helps out build an inbound, most likely for something like an HVAC or something that it's like a small company. And what it does, it automates already part of the prompting. You don't need to write the prompt at all here. So this is the real beauty. Now, do you want to make this for a specific site? For a specific company? Do you have an URL of that company so we can scrape it quickly?
Mark, you want to try it with DealHub?
Oh, yeah,
If
why
not,
not?
we can go.
Let's go for it. I don't want to.
I can go. We can go RevPartners.
Let's do that because I know we just switched over our website the other day, and
All
I
right.
don't want to. I don't want to
All
live
right.
stream
So
any bugs that are still there.
yeah, let's go RevPartners. RevPartners. RevPartners.io.
All right. Let's do this. Okay. Hey, you've called a freaking awesome RevOps solution in HubSpot Rev Partners.
Let's leave it.
All right. How may I assist you today? A female or male voice?
Let's go mail.
Let's go male. All right. Next, let me attach your phone number. This will be the phone number. I'm going to write the phone number that you need to call. Wait, 1 second.
All right.
Let me 1 second, +1. Let me double check if I wrote the phone number correctly. It's 8155. All right. Actions, no actions now. Let's not dwell into this. Is already synced. All right. Test assistant. All right. Please call the phone number. This should be done.
One moment. So I've got 815-581205. If you're listening to this after our live stream and you try to call this number, it probably will not do what we're about to make it do. But let's give it a fun try on the live stream. I don't know if y'all can hear this. Was that it? It might have been it.
I think you might have been calling someone else.
Let's try that again. 855
85.
871 5. I might have just hired someone else to be my receptionist.
RevPartners.
There we
How
go.
may I assist you today?
I'm curious to learn more about revenue operations.
New operations or RevOps is all about aligning your sales, marketing, and customer service teams to drive growth and efficiency. At RevPartners, we specialize in optimizing these processes using HubSpot. Is there something specific you're looking to understand or a particular challenge you're facing?
Can I speak to someone?
It doesn't have the transfer yet. We didn't attach
Yeah,
it.
so the next step
Just to
would be
confirm,
oh,
would you like me to transfer you to a specialist right now, or would you prefer to schedule a call for later? Got it. I'll transfer you to someone who can help. One moment, please.
oh, and that would be the transfer. And then we'll give it one more try and have it tell us a little bit about RevPartners.
In HubSpot RevPartners, how may I assist you today?
Tell me about the company.
Partners specializes in revolutionizing growth through RevOps, delivered via HubSpot, on boosting CRM adoption and moving away from project-based thinking. How can we help you today?
What is RevOps as a service?
As a service is about optimizing your revenue operations to drive growth. Marketing, sales, and customer success teams using HubSpot to streamline processes and improve efficiency. Interested in learning more or setting up a consultation?
Can you tell me your pricing?
I don't think.
I don't have the exact pricing details.
Oh, I
but
think it's a
can
graphic on our website.
Yeah, it doesn't script
So,
everything, and
whoops.
the prompt is actually made to either book an appointment or transfer you. So it first does a triage. What's your issue? Why you're calling? And then it escalates to book an appointment or just do a transfer.
Mark, I'd like your take because I
That
know
was
you
pretty
live
good.
in the AI space.
It was pretty good. I liked it. I think I've never. I would be interested to see how it reacts in the wild because there's so many variables that could happen when someone's calling. I'm also the kind of person that if I hear an AI on the other side, I'm going to try to like see how far I can push it before it like glitches.
And so if you think about a company that has zero customer service infrastructure, like that's really cool to be able to do that in 2 minutes. My question for you, Alex, is can you take that and then if you wanted to start adding prompts or customization, can you add on top of that once you do
Yes,
the initial setup?
after the initial setup, you can customize further. There's no limit
So
to that. It's just something that, exactly as you said, someone that doesn't want to dwell too much into what prompt do I need, how do I manage that. It's just going to do what a reception is going to do. So it's going to have some context and have a triage, appointment, and a human transfer there. Yeah.
that's amazing considering the speed at which we were able to get it up and running. Before we wrap, I do want to go over a few recap items here, just because ultimately it is so cool that when we think about how far HubSpot has come and the updates that have come out of even inbound, we still have apps like Synthflow that are really able to fill some of the gaps to streamline areas when it comes to efficiency in building out your business on HubSpot. For those who thought that today's conversation was really interesting, maybe you want to learn a little bit more about Synthflow, I've got two really cool takeaways for you. One is that you can actually go to their website, sign up for a 2 week trial, and play around with it yourself. So if you want to play with prompts and start setting up your own logic, it's totally free to do that. Just go ahead and make an account, register for their free trial. And then if you want to learn more from the Synthflow team, there is a webinar coming up on October 4th. So make sure you check that out as well. Again, if you're watching the live stream here today, then that is about a week and a half to 2 weeks out from where we stand today. For those of you who don't know, my name is Cameron Collins. I'm a revenue operations strategist and the community manager for Sprocketeer. We've got Mark Lerner on with DealHub and then Alex Krasun with Synthflow. So if you're not following us, make sure you follow all of us on LinkedIn. And if you're not in Sprocketeer, make sure you check out the group in Slack. We are the largest independent community for HubSpot admin, 2,000 plus members strong. And it's just really exciting to see members continue to help each other and ideas like this continue to become available to the community. Finally, if you are not already registered for the HubSpot admin HubSpot user group. That's hosted by Deanna Gloff and Kyle Jepsons every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. They never miss a beat. So make sure you check that out with the link in the show notes. And if you're checking this out on LinkedIn, we do have previous episodes on YouTube and Spotify. So check us out there. Thank you, everyone. Sprocket on. Mark,
Have a great weekend,
always
everyone.
a pleasure. Alex,
Thank you.
thanks for joining.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.